So the tool which I use for my webinars is Webinarjam. Okay, so this is an ultimate tool. Earlier I was using Zoom, but in Zoom, in the webinar mode, it is very costly, and at the same time, there are many things. Okay, let's open Webinarjam and you will understand it. Okay, so there are many things which are not available in Zoom. Okay, and this is a world's best webinar tool, because what I was looking for was a tool where I can convert my live webinar into automated webinar. So that was a tool which I was looking for. Okay, so, and also a tool which can give me some statistical data about how many people have watched the webinar and for how much time. Okay, so for this, if you go to this link dnaclub.in, go to this link dnaclub.in/Webinarjam. Okay, so this is my affiliate link. If you go to this link dnaclub.in/Webinarjam, through this you can try Webinarjam for 30 days at just $1. Okay, for just $1 you can try Webinarjam for 30 days, and $1 is what, around 70 rupees, 70-80 rupees, correct? And 30 days, just imagine 70-80 rupees and 30 days, just $1. And if you directly go to the Webinarjam website, you will get only 14 days, but through this link you will get 30 days, and I am sharing this link in the video description as well. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using this basic plan. It is $79 per month. It is billed annually. It is written here, but when you click here, start with $1 trial. Okay, so it will ask for your credit card information. You have to put your credit card information. It will deduct $1 only, and after that, after 30 days, you can convert it into monthly plan. Okay, so monthly, I'm using a monthly plan right now, which is $99 per month. Okay, $99 per month. So if you go with the Zoom monthly subscription, okay, with 300 or 500 participants, it will be more costly. It is cheaper than Zoom. Okay, so you can host unlimited webinars, include 2 hosts, 2 hours maximum duration of a webinar, and good thing is we can convert a live webinar into automated webinar in this. Okay, so many things. So you can try this out. Okay, I've given this link in the video description. Now I'm logging in through my own link, I'm just logging in through my login ID and password. So once you log in into Webinarjam, okay, I'm giving you entire demo quickly. Before that, let's go ahead and let's see Webinarjam website. Okay, I'm switching off my video here. Okay, if you go to Webinarjam website, you can see all the features available. It is a most powerful all-in-one webinar platform. Okay, so it works on all devices with a high definition video. Okay, HD video. You can do live chatting like this. Okay, just like Zoom. Okay, you can have live chat, private chats with the attendees. You can automate the webinars. Okay, all the webinars which you do using Webinarjam, you don't have to install any app. It works on Chrome browser. Directly on the Chrome browser you can do it, and when you complete your live webinar, it is automatically recorded, okay, in the Webinarjam servers. Okay, which means there is no need to download the webinar or save the webinar video. Okay, it has a flexible scheduling option. Okay, next is attendee spotlight. You can invite attendee to talk during the webinar. You can stream using phone as well. Using mobile phone also you can do the webinars. Okay, page builder. There is no need to, you can directly create a landing page, thank you page. Okay, using so many templates available in Webinarjam, all these things. I'm going to give you live demo as well. It also has email notifications, like before the webinar, after the webinar, email automation also you can enable using Webinarjam. Okay, you can display the offer, like at the end of the webinar, if you want to say, okay, you have only 15 minutes and the call to action is click on the link below and book a free consultation call. Like this, if you do, so you can create a certain kind of urgency, okay, or scarcity. Then panic button, okay, let's leave it. Polls and surveys you can do, and all these things. Okay, it is a browser based solution. Okay, so let's close this, and I'm now logged in using my own credentials. Okay, so when we log into Webinarjam, it gives you 2 options: Webinarjam and Everwebinar. Webinarjam is for live webinars. Everwebinar is for automated webinar. You get both together, okay, in this plan. So if I click here on Webinarjam, now suppose if I want to do a live webinar today. So what I will do, I will just click on add webinar, okay, and I will click on full configuration and then next. Okay, and schedule for later. Suppose I want to schedule a webinar 1 week from today. Okay, so I click on next. What is the name of the webinar? Title of the webinar I will type here. Okay, like suppose earn rupees 1 lakh per month in autopilot. Now suppose this is my webinar title. Okay, in autopilot, suppose this is a webinar title, webinar description like 60 minutes webinar for this, and you can just type the description here. Okay, English, and that's it. Webinar presenter, like click on confirm here. Okay, you can also upload the poster, whatever poster you create for the webinar here. Okay, then click on the presenter, and here you can upload your own photo. Okay, and you can edit the name as well. Okay, like webinar host and presenter, like this. Okay, then streaming service is Webinarjam Live. Let's go next. Next, you have to set up the schedule when you want to do the webinar. Okay, one single webinar, multiple sessions, yeah, recurrent series of sessions. Like say for example, 3 days webinar, 5 days webinar, like this. Okay, so suppose I select one single session and I want to schedule this webinar, example 31st of March at 8 p.m. Okay, 8 p.m. and I want to take as Indian Standard Time. Okay, Indian time. So automatically, I mean, suppose if you have international audience, it will automatically convert to their own time zone. Okay, automatically. So I'm selecting my own time zone here. Okay, 8 p.m. Allow time zone conversion. So if somebody is from Australia, Europe, it will automatically show their own time. Okay, got it? So there is no need to convert the time. Got it? So that is good thing. Then click on confirm. If I click on next, then registration, page design. Now, as I told you here, okay, when we discuss, it should have a good poster, hook, invitation, notification. So which means you should have a good landing page as well. Okay, so registration page, this is known as landing page. If I click on default, and if I click on, these are the landing page designs. I can use any of these designs. So for example, if I use this one, okay, embedded form, launch builder, and from here we can edit this photo. Okay, we can edit this photo, and also we can tell the description of the webinar, and suppose here we can type attended using laptop. It is a 60 minutes webinar, live only event, like this. Okay, so we can edit all these things, and accordingly this will become our webinar landing page. Clear? So after doing all these changes, just click on save and exit. Clear? Now confirm. Now what are the details you want to capture? I want to capture first name, email ID, and also I want to capture the phone number as well. So you can add phone number, make it mandatory, and then click on confirm. Okay, auto subscription to future webinars, I make it disable. It is a free, yes, it is a free. I can do a paid webinar as well using Webinarjam, which we'll discuss someday. Some other day. A new registration notification. Now this is very good, which means send notification. Which means when anybody opts into the webinar, I want to receive a notification on my email ID. So if I want a notification when anybody opts in, so I can enable this send notification to my team. So I will receive a notification like somebody has opted in for the webinar. So this also is possible here. The webinar password protection, no password. I can add a password also to the webinar. Okay, now click on next. After this, now it is asking me for email notifications. Okay, so here in email notification, what I can do, I can make changes here in the, I can now here I can add the notification, like immediately once the person opts in for the webinar, what should be the email? Okay, instant email must be confirmation your webinar link. Now here I can edit it, confirmation immediately, send this email immediately upon the registration, confirmation your webinar link, and it is a pre-written email. You can edit it, okay, or it's up to you. Okay, so title of the webinar automatically will display here, presenter name, date and time, automatically it will be displayed. Okay, congratulations, and the webinar room link also will be displayed by default. Clear? So we can add multiple email, like on the spot when anybody opts in. Okay, then last minute notification, like 15 minutes before the webinar, I can also add more email, add email, and I want to send email 2 hours before the webinar. Okay, so reminder your upcoming webinar. So 2 hours before the webinar, 1 hour before the webinar. So this way you can add multiple before the webinar, pre-webinar notifications, email notification. Got it? So just see the power of this wonderful tool. We can create a landing page. We can actually set up pre-webinar notification, and also it has post-webinar notifications, which means after the webinar is over, I can add a notification like 2 hours after the webinar. Suppose I set it here, 2 hours after the webinar, and now I want to send email to only people who have attended the webinar. Now just see, here is a power of this wonderful tool. It is giving us options of that you can send email, you can target people, okay, people who have attended have attended webinar, people who did not attend the webinar, people who attended the webinar, like this one, who attended the webinar but left before like 30 minutes. Like suppose I want to target people like they attended the webinar but they left within 30 minutes of the webinar. Send people who attended the webinar and stayed till this time. Now I want to suppose I say that if you stay in this webinar for next 1 hour, you are going to receive a free gift. So automatically an email will be sent to people who attend the webinar till 1 hour. Okay, so this way we can actually target people. So this is the power of this wonderful tool. We can target the people based on how much webinar they have attended. Just type amazing. Okay, this is an amazing setting, and I literally use this. There's so many people who register, but sometimes they register but they don't attend the webinar completely. So I target them using this email. Okay, like suppose they miss the webinar, I send them email by default like, oh, why you missed the webinar, what happened? Okay, no problem, you can attend my next upcoming webinar. So this way we can retarget the people. Okay, just type amazing if you're loving the features which are available here. Now next is integration. If you want to integrate with other tools, so let's skip it. Okay, so thank you page design, let's skip it. Okay, now here the option, you must see the option available here. Good options here are like this. Okay, we can enable polls, okay, from here. Product offer is something at the end of the webinar you want to share. Click on the link below, book a free consultation call, like this. Video injection means during the webinar if you want to play some testimonies which are YouTube videos. Okay, so you can add a link of a YouTube video. Okay, you can add a link of a YouTube video here, and during the webinar you can play a YouTube video. Okay, so this is again video injection, it is known like this. And then click on next. Okay, webinar replay recording available or not. So after the webinar, I want to send an email to people who missed the webinar, and I send a email like, okay, did you miss the webinar? No problem, click here and watch the recording. And you want to keep this recording page available, like if I click on confirm, and I want to keep this page available for only next 12 hours. So this option is also available here. So suppose I send an email to people who missed the webinar and I tell them, okay, you missed the webinar, no problem, click on the link below, watch the replay, and this replay page is available for next 12 hours. So this again creates an urgency in the person, and he thinks, okay, after 12 hours this page will be disabled, and you don't have to do it manually. Automatically the page will be disabled after 12 hours from the event. Wow, just type wow, this is good. I'm just sharing some features which are truly very useful for my business. Yes. And then click on next. Congratulations, go to dashboard. Finally, we have set up our webinar. Okay, earn 1 lakh per month in autopilot. So this is the webinar which we have set up, 31st March 8 p.m. Now what I have to do is simply I click on your links and this is the page, registration page. You just click on copy, and if I enter here, so simple. So this is the page which we have created. Okay, so our webinar is ready. So you start collecting information, you start getting information, okay, like this. And all the attendees list, people can start registering for this, okay, using this link. So this is your registration link. Clear? And what about the presenter? Okay, once you start getting the registrations, okay, once you start getting the registrations, what you can do later on. Now suppose it is 8 p.m. 31st of March, you can click on your links, click on presenter, and this is the live room as a presenter. If you want to present, if you want to start the presentation, so go to presenter, go to live room, okay, and click on continue, click on get start, let's start. Okay, so this is what I'm showing you is as a presenter. Hello, and I will say yes, enter the room. Okay, so as a presenter, this is how I start my live webinars. Okay, this is a live broadcast. So from here I can disable my video. I can click here and turn on the screen sharing. Okay, I can turn on the screen sharing, and here I can do some settings like chat options. Chat are only public or only private. Now this is again very good option. Display number of attendees in the room. I can disable the number of attendees in the room, so which means people will not be able to see how many people are here. Okay, so I can disable it, and then if I click here attendees, I can see the list of all the people who are watching me live. I can see their chats. I can initiate a poll. I can initiate an offer. I can play a YouTube video by adding here a video. And if I want to share something, I can just share a screen like this. Okay, like this. If I click on window, and if I want to share my mind map, this way I can share my mind map. Okay, clear? Stop sharing. Got it? So if all the settings are done, I will just click on this button, go live, and I click on yes. So I will go live on Webinar Jam. And people who have registered for the webinar, they will see me live. Hello everyone, my name is Tarun Agarwal. You can start. This is so easy. Got it? So now this is just high level what I have discussed with you. Now this is a live webinar. This is just a live webinar. But what about converting a live webinar into automated webinar? This is what you are curious, correct? You're curious to know about automated webinar. So for this, I go to Everwebinar. Okay, I go to Everwebinar, and in the Everwebinar, okay, we can see two options. In the Everwebinar, what I do, I click on Add Webinar, and here it is giving me two options. One option is I can use an external video, which means a YouTube video I can use, or I can use a previous Webinar Jam live session. Okay, previous Webinar Jam live session, and I can click on live webinar, or these are the live webinars which I have already done. Okay, suppose these are the live webinars which I've already done, and suppose I click here 3 secrets. Okay, and session, suppose this one. So this is a live webinar which is already saved in Webinar Jam, and I'm just creating a duplicate of the same webinar. Okay, just see, duplicate of the same webinar, basic settings, and go to next. Now webinar schedule. I want to run this webinar on every day at 5 p.m. Just see this. I want to play this webinar, which I have already done. It is a live webinar, which now I have converted this into automated webinar. Every day at 5 p.m. I click on add. Okay. Then enable instant watch replay. No. Allow late attendance. Now suppose it starts at 5 p.m. Somebody enters at 5:02. Yes, let them go in. Okay. They will see webinar is in progress. Okay. And also display. I want to display only the next immediate available schedule. Or you can display next to schedule. I want to display only next available schedule, which means the next show. Okay. And then I want to say, okay, I can block a particular day. So I don't want to block any day. I want to keep it as every day. Okay. So now this webinar is going to play every day at 5 p.m. Okay. Now registration page, landing page, and everything, it will automatically copy from Webinar Jam. I don't have to do anything here. Email also, it is copied. Everything is copied. Now the good part, okay, the best part about Everwebinar is, as I have duplicated my live webinar into automated webinar, now here is the magic. All the live chats, just see all the live chats. Hello everyone, hello, like Varvinder. Okay, Varvinder, you attended this webinar. Okay, Chanchal, Surya Prakash. Okay, all these people who attended my live webinar, and when I was interacting with them, they messaged me. I mean, all these chats are also here available for us. Okay, so when this webinar goes live, which is an automated webinar, people think that this is a live webinar, but this is not a live webinar. This is actually showing the chats of the previous live event. Just type wow. Okay, just type. This is an amazing. This is an important thing, because if people are not interacting in the chats, the attendee will understand, okay, this is an automated webinar, correct? But yes, we are actually duplicating the entire live webinar, including chats. And good thing is we can add more chats. Suppose I want to add more chats, like suppose on 10th second, okay, like 1 minute 10 second, I want to add a new message here. Like suppose I want to add a message from Jishan. Okay, hello sir, I am attending your webinar for first time. Okay, so 1 minute 10 seconds, and I click on add. So 1 minute 10 seconds, this message will display when it will go live. When it will go live, correct? So this is great, correct? Just see Jishan message, I am attending this webinar for the first time. Okay, and I can remove some messages as well. Okay, so this is good thing. If I click on okay, confirm. Now another thing is display number of attendees. Now this is amazing. So what you can do, you can even show fake count of attendees. Okay, it gives us option actual attendees in the room when you did a live webinar. The actual attendees as it is going to share, or a fixed number of attendees, or a dynamic simulated number of attendees. Now this is this option I use, which means when a webinar starts, suppose if I enter here 240 attendees. So what it will do, when webinar starts, it will show around 200 attendees. Okay, it will show around 200 attendees, and then gradually next 10 minutes it will go the top 240, and then gradually at the end of the webinar it will automatically show 190 180 people till the end. Okay, so it is going to show fake count of the attendees. So even if one person, even if one person is attending the webinar, that person will think like 240, oh, 240 people are attending webinar like me. And with all the chats options coming up, all the at the end of the webinar you say, okay, yes sir, I'm interested for this webinar. The person, if even if the person has little negativity in the mind, he will say, okay, it's a social proof, people are interested, I should also join the I should also join this business. Correct. So the same kind of energy you can you can duplicate the same energy in this automated webinar. So this is amazing. And now click on next. Just type wow. Okay, this is amazing. Just type wow, this is amazing. Okay, so this is a very important setting which I enable. And then webinar recording available or not, click on next. Finally go to dashboard, and here is a webinar which is ready now. So what I will do, simply I will click on registration page. As this is an automated webinar, I don't have to do live webinar now. It will run every day at 5 p.m. Now I will go on my YouTube. I will say click on the link below and get access to my next upcoming webinar. And this webinar will run every day at 5 p.m. It will show the timer like this, the countdown timer like this. 4 hours to go. People will click on register, and then they will see the next available time. Okay, based on their time zone. Okay, 5 p.m. you have to enter your details, and then finally it will take you to the webinar. And this webinar will show all the chats and everything which we have just set up in the Everwebinar. Okay.